Hey up everybody and welcome back. Alright, so today we should completely finish this. Now last week left you with a bit of a cliffhanger, real Saturday morning cinema thing. Or as I grew up calling them, the pictures. So you've all been wondering all week, did he solve his mystery or did he have a coronary? Worrying about it. So anyway, yes, I did solve it. And if we were giving away prizes, then Michael Ford and Scott Thevet, I hope I pronounced that correctly, would get a prize for solving the problem also. So, let's go back. Every time I ran the bike, the top of the tank and the speedo and the handlebars got covered in little blobs of oily stuff. And the only thing I could think of that was up there was the master cylinder and the brake lines. So after you left and went home, I wrapped the master cylinder and the brake lines some blue shop towel, ran the bike, and I still got the little bits of stuff all over, but when I looked at the shop towel, nothing had leaked from anywhere. So I was really, truly perplexed. And then I realised I'd had a Wally moment. I thought, you prat, it's a B50. The B50 crankcase vents into the chain case, which is why you use the same oil in both. And why they put that great big breather on it. And sure enough, when I went round the other side and looked, there was oil on the side of the engine. So I put this big piece of plastic tube on, cleaned everything off, ran the bike for a while. Nothing appeared at the top, and when I looked in the plastic tube you could see the little droplets of oil that had been thrown up into it. So mystery solved. But then I proceeded to have a second Wally moment, because I thought to myself, alright, I'll leave this plastic tube on, let's run it and see if I got the electrics right. So I started it up again, and idle, horn worked. When I put the indicators on, I think the rear bulb on this side just to say glowed. Nothing happened the other side. Switched the headlights on. If you peered into the headlight, you could just see this little blue light. And I thought, when I made that little crack, which I couldn't find any cracks, but when it made that noise, did I damage something on the armature or whatever, not the armature, the stator there, so that the electronic generator isn't working, or is it just not up to snuff? But of course it powers everything fine, same model on the C15. So I'm thinking about it and wondering about it, and suddenly I thought, as I say, another Wally moment. On the voltage regulator rectifier there's a little blue wire that goes round, goes back inside. And it says, there's a little label on it, for 6 volt leave intact, for 12 volt cut the blue wire. I suddenly thought, I never cut the blue wire. So snipped the blue wire, started the engine, and even a tick over, because the lights, I'd left the lights switched on, big bright light, left the headlight on, horn works, indicators work, everything works, just as I say, a tick over. So when you're riding along, you'll be fine. You'll have plenty of lights and everything. So there you go. Strange day. So anyway, I've ordered a piece of, I didn't have the right size tubing, something nice and flexible to do that breather. And then I came across something interesting. I don't know if you remember right from when I took it apart. The breather was on the plate that I've got the electrics mounted on the other side. In fact, there was even like a little cutaway for it to fit on. But in the parts book, it mounts on the mudguard. So I didn't want to start drilling holes in the mudguards. It would be, maybe look at it, it might be awkward to get it right up there. But I think the thing is, it's got to go up a certain way, because it's rather like a fractionating column in a refinery or whatever. The oil is shooting up, but it'll only go so far and then it runs back in. But if you had that really low, it could shoot in far enough that it starts to build up and eventually would leak out. So we've got to have it going up the way it was designed to do, to get the oil to go back into the chain case, so we're not losing oil and not spraying oil all over the back end of the bike. So we've got to look at that. So I've thought of somewhere to mount that, if I can mount it a little. No, it's going to be too low, I think. I think I'm going to have to look at how to get it up there. So we'll look at that. We might have to make a little extending piece. So there's that to do. At the same time I was ordering that, I ordered some little flexible 1-inch ID rubber to cover that spring over there, so we've got to get that sorted. We've got to adjust the chain tension, because I've had a couple of people sort of say, oh, it's going to rubber. You know, the chain isn't at its right tension. So once that's done, everything will be fine. And finally, front brake. I've ordered myself a new vacuum pump thing. I looked at that one I had and it was corroded a bit, so I thought, let me take it apart and clean it all. Well, when I took it apart, there was like a rubber piston in there that was rotted, and that's why I wasn't getting any vacuum build-up on it. So I thought, bugger it, rather than trying to buy parts for this, I just bought a new one and junked that. So that's on its way here later this week. So let's start on the little bits we can start on. I forgot to mention, footrest rubbers came. They were the right ones, the short type ones, so they're fine, and the rear rubber. I'm not sure whether that's the right one. It doesn't look to have quite as a bigger diameter in here, but that could be modified. Alright, let's go around the other side. Right, well, so here we have the breather. Here we still have oil. It amazes me that that blew it all the way up onto the top of the tank, but that's where it was, because, where are we? I just stuck that on, and there's all the oil vapour and the oil in that. Right, so that's that. Now then, you may remember that this has a little cutout in it, just behind where that's bolted. And this breather was up in there. So the pipe must have come up and probably gone over the top of there. And it was held on with a P-clip. But as I say, does it show you? Yeah, according to the, well, I didn't look at the B50MX one, but according to the B50T one, it's mounted here. Although that's parts book for the MX as well. Whatever, it shows it mounted here. Now, I was thinking, there's a nice handy hole in this bracket here. I've just put a rubber grommet in it. I was thinking of mounting it there, but I don't know if that would be high enough to get the effect. Now also, on this one, which doesn't show up in the parts book, there was this. There was a piece of rubber pipe holding that on there, and then there was that. And this perplexed me. I was wondering what it was there for, and then I suddenly thought, wait a minute, here's another breather pipe, the one from up at the filler, the neck of the filler, and of course it looks to be just about the right size tube. Yep, this end's hard. That's right, to go on there. So, how's about see, and that's right in the way of this as well then. Boom, 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 boom. See, this is always the problem whenever you start making mods. That's why I like to do a complete dry build. Generally I get round all these things, but I'd forgotten about the breather and that. If I put it in there like that, That could go down to there, that could go on there. That would come up. See, I can't make it too long or it's going to go like that. If it's a long bracket with a piece of weight on the end. But then if it's rubber mounted and it's on the... Would that work just there like that? Make that out of something suitably rigid so that the actual bracket wouldn't flex, and then I have it rubber mounted there so that even if it does shake a bit it's not going to snap anything. Would that be high enough to go there to there? And then of course this will go down nicely onto that piece. Let's think about a bracket. Right then, so while I'm thinking about where to put the breather, I made up a plate for you. I went and had another search but I couldn't find one. I found all sorts of things. I found more air boxes, chain guards, all sorts of things. So that's going to go on there like that. Actually it goes the other way around because there's a little less room at this end than there is at that end. There we go. So that's going to go on there like that. So let me give, I'm just going to aerosol this. Sign of the times, look. As I say, the place I get my paint made can actually make aerosols and touch-ups. So one aerosol, one touch-up bottle, I think it was $58. Okay, right, so I'll go and give them a coat of, give that a coat of primer, and while that's drying we will come back and look at putting the correct rubber on there. Alright, another mystery solved. You didn't see me bleed the front brake because I was playing around. Anyway, my nice new, I think you can see that. Yep. My nice new vacuum pump came. So to try it out, I just did the back one and the back brake. It worked fine, it sucked some stuff. So I put it on the front and I was working away, pump. When I let go, opened the nipple up and the vacuum didn't go off. All that was wrong was that bloody nipple was bunged up. So took the nipple out, cleaned it up, put it in, and now it's bled. Alright. Right, well, while I was head scratching over that job, oh god, I lost it again now. The paint was drying on this. So now this isn't going to be the easiest of things to put on, is it either? It's another one of these, you know, put it on before you put the oil line on. Ow, just bashed myself with a clutch lever. There, if I can just... I just bashed myself again with a clutch lever. Whose idea was it to put clutch levers on the left-hand handlebar? Oh, I've got it. You know, there isn't much space either putting the tank on for this tube. I ordered some tubing, I think I told you that yesterday, for various jobs here, and I ordered the wrong tube. Well, I ordered the right size, and it said soft, and I thought, well, I don't want really stiff tube. But when they said soft, they meant soft, soft. So you can't even put a curve in it without it kinking. Oh, that's gone on. So I'm going to have to run out in the morning and get some more tube to do the breather. But I got the nice floppy 1-inch tube for that back brake. 9/16 spanner, people. Can you see it? Oh, there it is. I tell you what, I'm really surprised none of you thought about me having a bunged up nipple, yeah. Bunged up bleed nipple. That doesn't really want to go in there. God. BSA. Tell you, with the oil pipe on, that's a pain in the bum. I'll get a spanner in there. Will that go on it? Oh. I have to think of something for that. This one's not much better. I still think I can get the ring on that. Yes. Hang on. That's why I can't get it on. That's a 1/2-inch spanner. That's a 9/16 spanner. There we go. Huh. Will you look at that? Alright, that's that on there. That's it for the day. Right, well, new day. Let's see if we can get these little jobs done. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So we'll start by setting the chain tension. Now, for those of you who are used to doing it at this end, where there are slots and you just move it back, BSA of course thought they'd get really clever. You know, to me another one of those, we've been doing it this way for 50 years and it works fine, but we're going to do it differently. The only thing I will say is it makes this end very rigid, because instead of the spindle just being sort of clamped against a 1/4-inch piece of metal, it's held in a thing here over 1 inch wide. So maybe that's what they were thinking of. Anyway, so the first thing you've got to do is you take the nut off the other side. I have seen some of these where this plate is actually loose on both sides. I don't know whether it's the earlier ones or the later ones that have it welded on, but I have seen them where it's loose both sides. So we've got to knock it through just far enough for it to come off the pin. Now I found the easiest way to do this, if you've got one, is to put a jack underneath it, because as you raise and lower the bike you'll find that this will move, because it'll pivot on there. If you, let's think, if you drop the bike down, the wheel will tend to push away and pull it that way. If you lift the bike up, you can push it in easier, if you follow me. So let's see, what have we got? Well, that's a lot for lollopy. So let's get round to this side, make sure I'm right off the pin, and I'll just bump that through a little bit more. Okay, so we want it to go that way. Come on now. I was watching Aid from AG Engineering this morning, just as before I came out here while I was drinking my cup of tea. And he was doing a little job, and he sort of said, you know, every time you do something on camera, it doesn't work. And exactly the same thing is happening here. This just will not. Oh, there it goes. Getting a little bit better. Let's see, we're almost right at the... Wow. That just does not want to turn. Normally you can turn them. Let's try taking some weight off the wheel. There we go. Now then. There's my little bumping stick gone. I never know whether to film these little jobs because they can be a bit on the boring side, can't they? Actually, if I get... Oh, excuse me. That, now I can get in there. Right, see the chain? That's about it. So what we're going to do now is find which of these maybe one more. That looks about right. So, the other thing to bear in mind is, as I've mentioned, this isn't symmetrical. This length here is longer than that length because this isn't, if that was just on a circle, then it would never change. This radius is getting bigger as you go around. So one of these is long and one of these is short. So you've got to make sure, reach it, that when you put this on the other side, you put it on so it's exactly the same. Alright, so let me go and put this on the other side. Let's put that on for there for now. Then you've got to find out, right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the top, with the plate on the right way around. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the top. Ah, now of course we found out that these worked exactly right, didn't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the top. That on, then I'll put the nut on this side, and that's done, and we can move on to our next job. Now, just in case any of you were worrying that I'd set that chain with it lifted up, it's actually down on the weight, so that's fine. Okay. Alright, so next thing, working our way up, is to put this philolope rubber tube that I got to be a cover there. So we're going to cut it to size. So the first thing we'll do, of course, once we've got this on, we can't get at this to adjust it. So we've got to put that on there like that. Where's our pin? There it is. So we've got that one right, so we just need to set this up here. So we've got some tension on that spring. And then set that. Okay, take that back out. Oh, look, I'm almost missing a step, aren't I? Cut that off, and I still don't know how long I want the piece of rubber to be, do I? Early morning. Alright, so we want it to come just up above here because we're going to put a cable tie on to notch it into that groove. 2 inches is what we want. 2 inches, so we're going to cut it off right there. Oh God, I got my thumb stuck in this now, look. Oh, right, so that comes off there. That is going to go on there. See, that's going to be really nice. I mean, that'll still slide. It's not going to move much, so that'll go up and down nicely. That is going to go into there. Make sure it goes in there, into the piston. Yeah. And come on now, be a good boy. Then that goes in there. And that is going to go up there like thusly. A thin cable tie, or whatever you call them. Actually, I should have put this on the other way around so I could pull it. Never mind. Yes, I should have put that on the other way around, but we'll see to that shortly. Then that goes like that. Then we have a little washer goes on the back. Oh, very fiddlesome. There we go. Then our little, I'm not using a split pin, I'm using one of those spring ones. Now when that's pulled in tight, that won't move. And actually the rubber still has to reform itself to being round, which it will do in time. Okay, so I'll find some pliers, pull that up tight. So the next thing we got to do is our breather. Okay, so let me tighten that up anyway so each job is completely finished. Right, just to show you, put that on, actually cut that one off and put another one on so it tightened up the right direction. Okay, so breather. Actually, I think I'm going to be able to use that tube I bought. Now it's been sort of standing, because it was, well, you saw how flat this was. That's because it was tight, bound up tight. Oh God, I don't know what I'm saying this morning. That's because it was coiled up tightly to fit in the box. But now this is, I cut a piece yesterday. Now it's had a chance to sort of reform. I think that's going to be fine. So, where are we going to go? As I say, we need it to go up in the air so that when that starts spitting up, it doesn't spit. You see, if it just went up like that, it would spit up and it would probably get enough so it would start to run down. We don't want that. We want it to be high enough so that what it spits up there will only get, say, this high and run out of kinetic energy, I suppose. I don't suppose it's potential at that point. It's moving. And we'll just run back down into here. And that's what we want also with this. If there's anything that comes out of the small tube that goes up to the top of the oil tank, we don't want that to be going in there and running out. We need that so that when it gets in there, it's going to run back into the chain case. We're busy with lorries this morning. So, as I say, let me open you up so we can... I'm thinking the way it probably went originally was like that. So that takes us right to where it was mounted on there. Do we want to do that? Does it need to be that high? Because I can put a little, I can make a bracket up behind these to come down and carry it. There's already a lot of things going through there, and we don't want it to be, let me push it on here. We don't want it to be too near the engine either, because it's rubber and that's going to get hot. I don't know what sort of material they use. I don't know if they used that strange, like, do you remember the Triumphs? Had a D shape. The cross section was a D, it was flat on one side, and that was this really hard plastic. So, shall we do it? See, that's what I was saying about that happening. Shall we do it through there like that? I think that amount of curve is plenty. See, dare we do it like that? You know, if I'm going to mount this on this thing down here, the reason I keep doing this, look at that, I've got a strange... I think it was when I was doing the plants in the pond the other day, I got something on me. Not exactly nettles, but they have all sorts of strange things here. Poison oak and poison ivy, and at least you're not going to get killed by spiders and crocodiles and God knows what else like you do in Australia. I tell you what, for our Antipodean viewers, if I lived in Australia, I'd never go near the water anywhere. But with freshwater crocodiles and sharks and God knows what else. I think that is enough. When I had the plastic tube on here, it was only shooting up to about this high. So I think that is fine for that. The next thing though is how tall dare I make that? That's going to go up there like that. I don't think I want it to go... Well, actually, I couldn't use this tube. I can always go... That's the one problem with living out in the country. The nearest sort of hardware shop or place where I can buy things like rubber tube is, what, Dryden's 14 miles away. Should I, can I get in to drill a hole in the, I don't want to drill a hole in the mudguard. Let me not take up time in the video as I think about this. So this is how I think it's going to have to be. See, I'm on that tube, I'm on this one, that comes up. I'm going to make a mounting that goes down to there, but as you will see from the way I make it, I'm going to make it nice and rigid. It'll be fine. I mean, it's not like there's something heavy hanging off it. Even with the engine shaking, I mean, this is incredibly well rubber mounted in itself because it's only on 2 hoses. So I think that'll be fine. So let me get some alloy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make an L to come up to here, but the sides of the L, or at least one side, I'm going to put a gusset in, so that it's not just not just an L that can flex like that. I'm going to put a gusset in here, and it'll be really strong, and it'll be light. I can even put holes in it and make it look pretty. Oh, I've broken a nail. Oh, I've put my false ones on when I go out tonight. Alright, so let me go and cut some alloy. Right, I've made this out of 1/8, and I think that is going to be amply strong enough. So I'm going to go around the other side, bolt it on, then we'll bolt this piece to it. So there's that on. Let's say that's on a rubber mount. It's all fastened up, all out the way. I think that will work fine. So put the side panels on, go up and see to putting the 1 tank rubber on. Now while I had the tank off, I've been fiddling around over here. I've tried the tank on. It's a little struggle, but it will go on. But I've got this wire. It's basically flattened out as much as that rubber is. So as long as it'll go on that rubber, it'll go over that wire. It's one of these things where, say, because the inside isn't exactly the same all the way down, there's a way to put it on. You just try putting it on this way. I think the front bit is a little bit tighter, but if you sort of slip the front on and then drop it down at the back, it's better. So this rubber was more for the sort of B44, which is a smaller top tube. So I've cut it out slightly, goes on reasonably well. So let me put some double-sided tape on, and then I'll put it on there, and then we'll see if we can get the tank on, and then I'll start it up again for you and show you that all the electrical bits work. Now let's see if we can get this tank on. Oh, yeah, that's on. So as I say, it's sort of a put it on head first type thing. I'm probably going to get in front of you now, but I've had it on once. How the hell did I get it on? Did I put it on? God. Hang on. Because I've got that tube on the other side. Yeah, you see that bloody tube is... Ho, 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 ho. Why did I use this tank? Now then. That's about on past that tube. I'll turn those petrol taps on. It's got to get above. Hang on. Damn, the battery's on red and I didn't bring the other one down from the house. Oh, come on, I've already had you on here once to test to see if this would work. Why did they make this tank so bloody narrow? I'm going to have to fight this on. Right then, what you've got to do is get that tube and this wiring sort of up onto the top of the frame so they're in the narrower part where the curve is. And then you can just about get them in. Oh. And then it goes on as if it was meant to go on like that. Now then, any second I might lose you. Because as I say, you're right down to the red. Probably have to walk up to the house and find the other. Hang on. You've seen me put this on. Right, well, so got it on. Everything went well, put the saddle on and all that stuff. So I started up. It's going to be a bit noisy down this end of the workshop. And show you that all the electrics work, and then when I can collar Linda to hold the camera, I'll get a bit of video of me riding it. So let's see, petrol's on, ignition's on, compression lever in, over. Right, we've got an ignition key as well for it. So, there we go, we're not covered in oil. So, everything electrical works. That was a slightly fast tick over, but believe me, even a tick over, so how bright the headlight was. Everything works a treat. So as I say, all we've got to do is take it for a run up the road. I don't think it's going to be too loud. I was actually half thinking, just out of interest, because I've got a couple and nobody seems to like them, I'm going to cut one of the silencers open to see what they did, what BSA did, because it's the same shape, and the back of their silencers got some what look like spot welds, as if it's just holding plates in. So, and I don't see how they could pack it. Anyway, I think that doesn't look half bad. It runs, everything works. Oh, hopefully. So we will take it out for a little ride. Linda's on a conference call at the moment and it's getting late because I was out on the luncheon appointment with Steam Shop. So that's it for today. So there'll be a couple of minutes of video of me riding it, and that is this project finished, and so we will move on. So see you a little bit later. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there's not going to be a test ride. Just showing you it running, so I showed her all the electrics, so I thought, right, organise Linda, let me start this and just warm it up, and then I'll go up the house and get her and film the test ride. Wouldn't start, absolutely nothing. So, as I mentioned, you can't see the spark on this, so I don't know whether it's that, but I've had a quick fiddle around. But now we have a real mystery. Virtually no compression. I've disconnected the decompressor. It's not hanging up on that. The valves are closing. So I'm now not only baffled but annoyed. So I'm just going to put this to one side for the minute, because you know what a struggle it is with this. But the tank is minor to the fact that, as you will remember, you can't even get the rocker box off this with the engine in the frame. So I'm going to have to take the tank off, exhaust off, carb off, and then hopefully if I take the engine mounting bolts out and the little spacers, I'll protect the frame a bit. I might be able to tip this over enough in the frame to get the rocker box, get the head off. I mean, I don't even know what I'm looking for at the moment. All I know is, as you saw there, you can just kick it over. I mean, while I was trying to start it, I was having to use the decompressor to get it past top dead centre. And now suddenly that's happening. So, flummoxed. I'm flummoxed. So, that's going to be it for this week. I've got a couple of I had a couple of different things planned for the next 2 weeks, which I will go ahead and do, because obviously I can't just video me fiddling. I'll bring you back for the very final video, and then I can tell you what I found, and I'll have it running properly then. So there you go. So until next week, stay safe and enjoy yourselves. Don't know if I will.